there's two different. Now I think that there are three camps now. I think in economics policy, there's the Kudlow camp with Mnuchin, which is, come on, this is about trade. Let's get more trade. Let's make it so that we make more money. You'll be speaking to Peter Navarro. Now, that camp I'm not as close to, but it does say, that's a camp that wants more concern about hegemony, Huawei. Should we let them take our 5G products and vice versa? There's a reliable list that the Chinese are putting together. Unreliable, looks like a lot of Americans. And then there's this camp that we kind of didn't count on, which is the national security camp that's suddenly really in there. Now, we thought national security meant higher steel tariffs. No, now it's punitive. I don't know how much the chief economic advisor is being consulted now. The trade people are being consulted. This, I think, was left field.
Well, it's, we can obviously talk about the economic impact of a 5% tariff on all imports from Mexico, which are what, over 330 billion, 360?
No, bigger than that.
Well, it's
352. 352
billion.
Well,
yeah.
Okay, but I think that those numbers are going to move.
Autos, as you pointed out to us many times, given you have a home near a lot of those plants, are the largest.
Well, that's why I was saying large.
By computers and
because
computing
BMW, the BM3 is going to be there.
And by the way, the amount of things that go back and forth across the border is different. Components are added and passed. All right, there's that. But Jim, there's also this idea that you're using tariffs in a way that has nothing to do with trade.
Yeah, that's really what
that's
why it has nothing to do with trade.
It's got to be a destabilizing factor here for decision makers when it comes to just business.
President has the right to use the Emergency Economic Powers Act of 1974.
No way.
He cited it specifically, and it's one of many tools that any administration has.
It was $671 billion trade. Okay. We did 299. They did 371. But I think what people have to realize is it's a trajectory. And David's right. I'm down there a lot. I was down there last weekend, and the NAFTA, the Germans and the Japanese have really adopted NAFTA in a way that I don't think people recognize. And there are plants that are opening this year. There's one nearby by where I was this week. It's going to do 300,000 cars. And there's a Toyota plant that I visited. It's 3 football fields long. It's doing sealants. I mean, the mad rush to build there is looking real stupid.
Yeah, we were reminded last night about GoPro, which earlier in the month said they would move production of U.S.-bound cameras from China to Mexico. What do they think right now, guys?
Well, if you're a business leader at this point, you're dealing with the China trade war and trying to make decisions within that, and are starting to, as you point out, Carl, as the Journal had a story yesterday, move your supply chains, and the Times actually had a long piece on this yesterday as well, and really make the decisions that you'd put off. Then you're hit with this that comes out of nowhere.
Yeah, this is chilling.
That has nothing to do with a trade dispute. And I would think that it just adds to your overall inability to make a decision, or it increases uncertainty, which we hear about so often as being the enemy of capital spending.
But the president doesn't look at it that way, as I understand. The president says, this is really going to force Mary Barra's hand. They're really going to build the plants here now.
So you really believe that he's using this as a tool to try to get automakers to bring manufacturing back here, even though he's saying it's about the immigration crisis?
Double win. No, David, I'm not kidding. David, this is something
I don't doubt you. I just think
you shouldn't doubt me on this. Shouldn't doubt me on this.
It's
Mary Barra, okay? Not a friend of the president. You get a double win. You get now. I mean, look, you can't make Modelo in Michigan, no matter what you do. Forget about the
Constellation.
Wisconsin Corona.
Constellation.
All right. No, they got 3 points.
Morgan Stanley comes out of Constellation immediately and says, right off the bat, about a 4% headwind to EPS next 12 months at 5%.
20% headwind to Bar San Miguel. I buy avocado from Mexico, for heaven's. Wow. I mean, Chipotle. Wow. But what I think is happening is that the president, when you talk to his people, and you're talking to one of them later, 10, you should ask them. I mean, they ultimately think that the jobs are going to come back, but more importantly, they think that the people who left this country to open plants, this is bad actors.
Well, two questions Two questions for that, whatever answer we get. One is, where do you get the workers? The second, and who? Well, I mean, you can hire them, and for a certain amount of money, usually 5 to 7 times what it costs in Mexico and China. But say you do get them, who loses them? Which industry loses those workers if they, in fact, migrate to a fresh production sector?
Geez, I don't know. I mean, you pay about $6 an hour in Mexico, and it's all in with healthcare. $6 an hour. So, that's the competitive wage.
Right.
And so a lot of people move from China to Mexico.
Okay, we're having a trade discussion about China when this is not about that.
This is not MSNBC.
This is not about that. This is about an immigration crisis at the border with a bunch of Central Americans who show up every day with their children, and the president, we don't have an answer to it.
No.
He says he blames the Democrats, but is he going to meet with them about immigration even though he walks out on infrastructure? Because he says he won't do anything because
also,
they're
what
investigating
substantially stops the flow? What is a substantial drop? There's one theory that we do see a decline seasonally because it gets hot. Maybe immigration does taper off a bit, illegal immigration, and he can point to effectiveness on tariffs.
It's about gangs in Honduras and El Salvador and Guatemala. I mean, it's about this is not about trade.
No, it's not. Look, the Mexican.
We have a trade agreement, in fact, that we're trying to actually get passed through Congress, and the Mexicans are about to deal with it, and the Canadians. Yeah, this puts in jeopardy the USMCA as well.